y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a big problem that I have, and I think I've had it ever since my first year of college, and that is procrastination. Procrastination is a big problem for me, and apparently it's a big problem for a lot of other people. So I did a little bit of research, and what I found is that 15 to 20% of the adult population are chronic procrastinators. So that kind of makes me feel a little good because that means I'm not alone and I'm like not the only one. But I also found that 80 to 95% of college students report procrastinating at some point. If I was included in that research when I was in school, I would definitely be one of them. And 88% of employees admit that they procrastinate at least an hour per day. And I can believe it. So my personal situation, I tend to procrastinate when I start to feel overwhelmed, or if I start to feel a little bit of self-doubt about being able to accomplish something, then I tend to put it off. And obviously that makes things just kind of build up and makes the situation worse. So procrastination is something that I personally want to conquer this year so that I can be more productive and more successful. So let's talk about it. So a lot of people confuse procrastination with laziness. Obviously, procrastination, it kind of looks like, from the outside looking in, it looks like laziness, like you just, messing off or whatever, but it's actually not laziness. Laziness is basically just a lack of motivation to perform a task or a lack of motivation to do what you need to do. You just don't have the desire or the will to do it. You just don't want to, so you just don't. Procrastination, on the other hand, has a different mindset, because with procrastination, you want to get it done. You know that you need to. You understand that not doing it is going to cause negative consequences, but you put it off anyway. So it's not that I'm just not going to do it. I wait till the last minute. I wait as long as possible. And that's kind of different from laziness. Lazy, I just don't want to. Procrastination, I want to. I just can't make myself do it right now. So there's a difference. Both of them will have negative consequences, but like I said, the mindset and the motivation behind them are different. So people actually procrastinate usually because of a lot of psychological factors like fear of failure, perfectionism, or lack of motivation. Procrastination is a coping strategy. Usually we use procrastination when there's some kind of unpleasant emotion that's coming up that's connected to whatever the task is that needs to be done. And so we'll procrastinate because we're not able to self-regulate. We can't really manage those emotions on our own while performing the task, and so we put the task off in an effort to make ourselves feel better. In the short term, maybe it helps, quote unquote helps, but long term it's actually causing more problems, because you still got to do what you said you didn't want to do. You still got to get done. So that's really a problem. Now, Psychology Today did an article. They said that procrastination is not caused by poor time management. They also said it's not caused by fear of failure. Rather, it's driven by various factors such as low self-confidence, anxiety, lack of structure, and an inability to motivate oneself to complete unpleasant tasks. Usually we're procrastinating on stuff that's not fun. That's the problem. We don't really want to do it because it's not enjoyable. So we put it off. Think about your pattern, your own personal experience, and think about what areas do you tend to procrastinate on. Some common ones are work-related tasks. I am guilty. I am a licensed therapist. There's a lot of paperwork that comes along with that. And I don't know, it's just certain times when I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to. I have to, but I don't want to. And so those are the times when I end up bringing work home because I failed to do it while I was at work and it's due by a certain time. So now I'm bringing work home and I'm having to complete it by the deadline at home when I would normally be able to spend time with my family. And I don't know if y'all know what that feels like, but it kind of sucks, especially when you forget because maybe it's date night and you with your boo and you just don't want to do it, and then you forget, and then like midnight came and like now it's too late. It's late now. I mean, you still gotta do it, but like, okay, I digress. I'm telling y'all too much about business. So anyway, work-related tasks is a common area that we procrastinate because maybe it's boring, maybe we feel like it's too difficult, it's very tedious, or maybe we feel overwhelmed. Maybe you're burned out and just don't feel like it. Any of those things causes problems. Obviously, academic assignments. I had to write a lot of papers. I remember like staying up all night because this 5-page paper is due tomorrow and I haven't started on it. So I had to stay up and do it. Not fun. Household chores. I don't know who in here likes to clean the bathroom, but I don't necessarily enjoy that, but it has to get done. And sometimes the stuff just piles up. Laundry piles up, dishes pile up. Those chores are not necessarily enjoyable. We don't like to do it sometimes. And so we put it off and it builds up. Also, personal goals. We can tend to put off personal goals because accomplishing the goals may not be enjoyable, like working out. All of us, first of the year, everybody want to get back in shape. It lasts about a month or two and then we back off the wagon again. Because exercising, unless you like really got into the groove and now it's just a part of your daily routine, like once you fall off, it can be really hard to get back on because it's not necessarily enjoyable, especially in the beginning. We all sore and tight and out of shape. And so we put it off. And next thing we know, it's been like 3 years and we still haven't started back. So personal goals is a good example. And I did some more research and I found this thing called revenge bedtime procrastination, which I had never heard of, but I was like, is that a thing? I don't know. Anyway, they said it is when you stay up at night to be able to do the things that you didn't have time to do during the day. They said usually this happens when people feel out of control of their daily life. And so they're like, well, I'm gonna take control back now and I can control when I sleep. So instead of me sleeping like I need to, I'm gonna stroll on social media or I'm gonna watch this TV show that I didn't have time to do earlier. Like I'm gonna get it in when I'm supposed to be sleeping. I mean, like I said, I had never heard of that and maybe it's a thing, but I don't know. They called it revenge bedtime procrastination, so we just gonna include it in here. All right, so how do we overcome procrastination? One thing you can do is break down your task or whatever the thing is that you're putting off, break it down into smaller steps and step by step walk yourself up to being able to get it done. I use working out as an example. You set your clothes out at night before you go to bed. When you wake up, okay, they're right there looking at you and laughing at you and like, hey, you know what you said you were gonna do? Hi, I'm right here. So the next thing to do is just, okay, put the clothes on. I mean, once you got the clothes on, okay, the next obvious thing is, okay, well, let me just go do this little walk I was gonna do or this little workout. I'm already dressed for it, right? So you can break things down into smaller steps. And how hard is it to sit my clothes out? I can do that, no problem. I got that accomplished. Okay, how hard is it to put the clothes on? Not at all. Okay, I got that done, check, move on to the next thing. So breaking things down into smaller steps can make them less overwhelming and make it more likely that you'll actually do them. You also need to set a clear deadline. If you don't have a timeline set, you don't have a sense of urgency, and it's more likely that you're gonna put it off because you don't have like an end in mind. So set a clear deadline for your goals when they need to be accomplished. It also helps to create a reward system where you have some kind of treat or some kind of special thing for yourself once you've completed the task. Eliminate distractions as much as possible. Obviously, that's going to make you more productive. And then also you can use different time management techniques. So in my research, I found a couple of different strategies, which I've heard of before, but I didn't know what they were called. I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but it's a Pomodoro technique. Anyway, it says that you're going to set a timer and maybe you pick 25 minutes. So you do your work in 25-minute increments. And every time you finish the 25, you take a 5-minute break. So now that's a 30-minute block of time. So work 25, 5 off, another 25, 5 off. And you do that until you have completed 2 to 4 cycles, or is it 3 to 5? Anyway, you set a number. You set a number. How many times you're going to do that cycle, that 30-minute block of 25 and 5? And once you accomplish that, then you take a longer break of 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and then get back into it. So doing it that way, you're kind of limiting the time, of working. And that allows you to kind of tune everything else out for that 25 minutes. You're going to accomplish a lot more by increasing the overall amount of time that you're working without feeling so overwhelmed and so exhausted by, like, I'm going to go in for 5 hours straight. Okay, so that's the Pomodoro technique. The Eisenhower matrix is another strategy where you're going to break things down based on their level of importance and urgency. You're going to have 4 different quadrants: importance versus urgency. If something is urgent and important, that's what you do first. If it's important but not urgent, you can schedule it for later. If it's urgent but not important, you can delegate that to someone else. And if it's not urgent and it's not important, you probably should just throw it away and delete it. Like, take it off the list altogether, because it doesn't matter. Okay? So that's another way of looking at it, as a strategy to be able to kind of prioritize. I have all these things I need to do. How do I decide what to do first and when, and all the things? Okay? So that's the Eisenhower matrix. You also, again, if you have an accountability buddy, that person can help keep you on task and keep you motivated to get things done also. So I usually try to make sure I tell somebody if this is something really important and something I really want to make sure I accomplish. I tell somebody that I know will help keep me on track and won't let me just go to the wayside. Okay? Something that's really important throughout all of this is your mindset. A lot of things that I talk about are going to go back to your mindset, because that's where everything starts. How you think about stuff and your attitude about things is going to make the difference between success and failure. So you want to make sure that you have a positive mindset and that you're leaning into self-compassion instead of self-criticism. Tearing yourself up, beating yourself up, all of that stuff is not going to help you feel motivated to keep moving forward. So always lead with compassion and give yourself room to grow. Growth is a process. You're going to fail from time to time. That's how you can get better at stuff. Like, you have to keep moving forward. But talking down to yourself and about yourself is not going to help you accomplish it. So make sure you're leading with an attitude of empowerment for yourself and compassion. So I want to know, are there any other people out there that struggle with procrastination like I have? Do you want to fix it or improve in that area? I want to hear about it. Leave a comment. Let me know what your experience has been with procrastination, and do you have any tips? Do you have any suggestions, things that have worked for you in dealing with your procrastination and being more motivated? I want to know, and everybody else wants to know too. Let's all learn from each other. Over the next week, pick one thing that you've been procrastinating about. It's January, so maybe if you're like me, maybe it's got to do with taxes and getting your paperwork in order. I don't know. But set a goal for yourself to get started on one thing that you've been procrastinating on, and then come back next week in the comments and let me know what kind of progress did you make. Did you set any goals? Were you able to move forward in any positive direction? So again, procrastination begins and ends right up here with your mindset and your attitude. So change your mind about it and you'll be able to change your behavior. So like the video if you like the video. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. And again, leave a comment. I want to know what you think. I want to know what your experience has been. What advice do you have for me and others who may struggle with procrastination? And as always, fear nothing, assume nothing, and take nothing for granted. All right, y'all, go be great.